On the $19 million? Well, it's a matter of oversight. So we passed the bipartisan infrastructure law last year, signed into law by the president. Really expansive bill that looks at upgrading our crumbling infrastructure. And if you want an example of crumbling infrastructure, look at this 110-year-old breakwater in Algoma. And so the time horizon for this legislation is really 5 to 10 years, because we're fixing so much stuff you couldn't do it in a year. But we hope that the money will flow. There's still some engineering work that needs to be done, and then maybe next year we will actually see the contracting out for the work itself. So very, very exciting.
And with all this work that's going on, how's it going to affect the economy, impact the economy?
Well, we're talking about some of the opportunities that are available to Algoma when this is fixed. First of all, it's a big draw, the beach right there, but there's a marina, and they are looking at the prospect of increasing the number of boat slips. There's a very robust commercial fleet that brings people out to enjoy fishing and other activities on Lake Michigan. So there's a lot of economic development potential from just addressing this 110-year-old structure and really protecting the shoreland too.
And this project here in Algoma, that's kind of a microcosm and indicative of what's going on around the nation.
Yeah, but I'd start by focusing on like Wisconsin and the Great Lakes area. We are seeing more frequent volatile lake levels in the Great Lakes. That causes destruction of these breakwaters, and shoreland is eroded, and there's other challenges that small communities are having trouble keeping up with because the infrastructure involved is so expensive and sort of complex to address that was one of the objectives for the bipartisan infrastructure law, is to help small communities be able to become more resilient and make sure that their infrastructure can last another 100 years.
Senator, how did you become aware of Algoma's need for this? Basically, how did Algoma become part of getting this $19 million?
Yeah, so in terms of my awareness, there's actually several different ways in which I keep up with what's happening. So one is that there are communities that are along Lake Michigan and all the Great Lakes that work together to inform the federal delegations, both members of the House and senators, on what the needs are, what the resources and tools they need to protect their communities and prevent shoreland erosion and protect the Great Lakes. And so oftentimes these groups meet in Washington, D.C., and I get a chance to hear from leaders along all the all the Wisconsin, Lake Michigan cities, as well as the communities that are on Lake Superior. There's a sort of equivalent estuary group, so I get to hear about the riverfront communities on our west coast of the state, and then, through many vehicles like this, to get to talk with two mayors and hear directly from them what their next challenges might be. So travel around, and I do a lot of travel focused on water because that's so key to Wisconsin's identity. We have our East Coast, which is Lake Michigan, our West Coast, which is St. Croix and the mighty Mississippi, and our North Coast, which is Lake Superior, and then all these incredible inland water, lakes and rivers. So Wisconsinites care about their water. And yeah.
As far as the monies, is it earmarked just for like restoration of anything, or pre-existing, or can they be used, that monies, towards expanding and other things that the communities see?
So in the bipartisan infrastructure law, there are, by and large, not specific earmarks, but this is money that is going through the Army Corps of Engineers, who has as their responsibilities these sort of coastal infrastructure, and so it was announced that one of their first projects would be this Algoma breakwater. And we will see, as the bill progresses, other communities in Wisconsin be able to take advantage of Army Corps projects. They can't do them all at once. So, and then in terms of what we know as earmarks, there were several projects. In fact, I just came from Sheboygan, where they have a drinking water upgrade that they need to do, where I was able to secure what they call congressionally directed spending to help them with that very expensive but important project. Also replacing 100-year-old infrastructure. So they have the intake in Lake Michigan for their drinking water was built. One of them was installed in 1909. Just about time for an upgrade.
A little bit of late in that.
Yeah.
So the majority of the dollars are COVID relief funds. Is that true to say?
No. So the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act monies, those can be used as local match for because oftentimes these federal programs require the local community to make some percentage of a match. So that was ruled, but I'm not sure exactly how Algoma is planning. You could ask the mayor.
But it is ARPA funds.
No, the bipartisan infrastructure law it's those funds. So the American Rescue Plan was passed in March of last year, and the bipartisan infrastructure law was passed in the fall of last year in November.